I'm Fiona Greig, Director of Consumer Research from the JP Morgan Chase Institute. So we assembled a data asset using the bank's proprietary transactions and monthly balances that we see by virtue of being the biggest bank in America. We have a relationship with over half the households in the US. And so from that, we have from a universe of 28 million households, we were able to identify 6 million people or 6 million households that are really core customers for whom we think we're observing the majority of their financial lives. We then took a 1 million person sample most recently just to understand income volatility in and of itself. We identified a couple of key findings. One is that income volatility is very high. So, 55% of US households experience 30% swings in total income on a month-to-month basis. And that's even more true for young people. It's even more true for low-income people. And interestingly, it's also even more true for people living in the West. When we tried to understand the sources of income volatility, the vast majority of income volatility actually comes from within jobs, the continuous jobs that I have from month to month. Even though 4 in 10 people over the course of a year experience some kind of job transition, when you examine month-to-month volatility, it's actually people within a single job. And so then you unpack that even more, and we discovered that the paycheck amounts itself, from one paycheck to another, is a big source of the volatility. That this could be variation in hours, this could be your experience, you get an extra paycheck because it's bonus season, or it could just be other idiosyncrasies that are going on. So it turns out that almost 80% of people in the US have a job that's paid either every week or every 2 weeks. And when you roll that up to a monthly basis, there are 4 months out of the year where that have 5 Fridays instead of 4. And so that in and of itself generates volatility, because in some months you receive an extra paycheck than in others. And that matters not because, in some sense of the world, you're getting exactly the same amount of income every week or every 2 weeks, assuming that your paycheck values are the same, which they may or may not always be. But it turns out that a large sum of your expenses are on a monthly basis. And so that generates a mismatch in the kind of cycles with which we are paid versus the cycles with which we are spending money. And so we think it's worthy of attention.